Skillful intervention in early childhood care and education, linking leadership to the AistearSìolta Practice Guide. Roscommon County Childcare Committee, in collaboration with Longford County Childcare Committee, are delighted to bring you this podcast, where Carmel Dunn from Roscommon County Childcare Committee will present how we can achieve positive learning outcomes for children in our early childhood care and educational settings.
Skillful intervention and leadership, linking to ECCE Linking Practice Guide. I hope at this stage that we've now established that everybody who is working in childcare is a leader, and I hope that the lessons we've taken from the last session is on positivity is that positivity is contagious. If you're in a positive, the energy here today is absolutely fantastic. I didn't hear one person complaining. I didn't see anybody yawning or anything else like that. The usual things that you have at this stage on a Saturday afternoon after a hard working week. The foundation of curriculums then, which is the first pillar of the AistearSìolta Guide, then to achieve positive outcomes you need to feel positive about yourself. Know your curriculum vision, and that's everybody in the service should know it, not just the leader. And why have you come up with that particular vision? What does that say about your service? Does it adhere to the rights of the child? And does it set learning goals using the teams of Aistear and the standards of Síolta? Because again, like if you're talking about having your vision, there's no point in having your vision without your plan. If you want to achieve positive outcomes for children, you have to have learning goals and you have to set aims to meet those goals. Engage in professional practice. And I would say your personal and professional goals should be very similar. When your personal and professional goals are similar or the same, it's very easy to do it. And it's very easy to continue to engage in professional development if you're doing something that you love. You should not only meet the requirements of Regulation 5, but should work to exceed them. So if you start those with your foundations of curriculum, you're well on the road to providing quality service. Then building partnership with parents, and I mean this would have come up in an earlier presentation as well. I think it was Susan's and Kathleen was talking about it as well, about a positive vision for all families, about not labelling a child if we have a child who's coming in, and we had siblings before who we had previously labelled terrorists, but after today we know we weren't providing the right environment or the right interactions with them. And do I share information about the setting and the curriculum in a positive manner? Have we a key worker system? Do I consult with parents and children and assist parents with learning in the home? And again, I'll bring you back to a statement Susan made earlier, and that was about, telling the parents about the positive things and about that wonderful story about their parents getting back their child. Is the only time we engage with parents when there is a problem. So we need to be aware of it, and we need to be telling parents that when their children are doing really well, that we have noticed it and it has been noticed, and to celebrate it. Creating and using the learning environments then, I'm going back to Susan's slide which says the sparkle of good feelings awakens motivation to change. And this is going back on a personal level and you as a part of your environment, because you are an intrinsic part of the environment. And you can be the most influential thing in the environment. No matter how wonderful an environment you have, if the people in it working in that environment aren't enthusiastic about what they do, the actual physical environment won't be of much benefit. The material skills and knowledge you have facilitates positive or negative learning experiences for young children. And that's been proved over the years, which was the report which was done in 2002, and that was over 10 years. The expectations we have for young children should be inspiration, challenging, and include everyday experiences and have learning outcomes. The environment should be changed to continue to offer sufficient challenge to the children, and again that came up in the earlier presentations as well, that we don't want the same environment on a continuous basis. And again, to rotate the stuff, don't have everything out all at once. Sometimes you'd walk into a place and your head nearly hurts, there's so much stuff in it. And then changing the environment changes how young children use the environment, therefore extending their learning opportunities. So even sometimes if you move the home corner from the right to the left, you can actually get the different sides of the brain working, and they're going in a different direction, so it actually changes how they interact with it and increases stuff for them. Then I have a few questions about learning through play. I mean, we all know at this stage that young children learn best through play, but how do you use your pedagogical skills to guide play? And what is the leadership strategy of the service? Do you know when and when not to intervene? Supervisor and room leaders are not the only leaders. We are all advocates for young children. And as Irene mentioned this morning in hers, the bus driver, the cleaner, everyone represents the service and the pedagogical ethos of the service. And that should be visible in all interactions. And that's from the time, whether it's the gardener or the caretaker, or for those of us that are lucky enough to have one, or the cook or whatever. Everybody in the service should represent the service. Then nurturing and extending interactions. And again, Susan, one of the quotes was about being on autopilot. And I'm asking the question, do I think about what I do, or do I work on autopilot? Do I blindly follow the daily routine? And if you blindly follow the daily routine, you will be blind, because it will be so boring and you will miss so many of the opportunities that it will just become a drudgery. And how often do I evaluate my role and the contribution I make to activities? And how often do I nurture or extend activities? And do I understand the difference between pedagogy and curriculum? Curriculum is all about what we teach. Learners use what they already know to construct new understandings. The practice and activities that people engage in while learning shape that learning. Learning is supported through relevant and meaningful activities that incorporate social, cultural and socially acceptable experiences. Pedagogy is about how we teach it. Learning is facilitated through the use of metacognitive strategies. You need to know what your knowledge is and what your thinking processes are to use this strategy efficiently. And each person has different approaches and learning styles, and these can be used to enhance the overall learning and experience for both children and adults alike. And Irene would have referred to that this morning in her research. And then this is another one from Susan, 5 core strategies of effective leadership. And I'm just relating these to the early years sector, and I'm just thinking, you know, when we think about inquiry, do we have an emergent-based curriculum? Is it constantly evolving, or is it something that's written on a piece of paper that goes in the wall to meet the preschool inspector's expectations when he or she comes? Is it visible, illuminate? I mean, is the learning that's happening in our centres, is it visible? Are the children contributing to the learning, and can we actually see that? Is it inclusive? Have we equal access to all children and families, regardless of abilities? Is it inspirational? Is the room layout and the interactions that happen in our service? And has it integrity? And in the early years, I would say choices. Who decides what? Is it the adult that decides everything that happens in the centre? Effective leadership then, just know your vision and mission statement and incorporate into practice. Know and implement your service policies and procedures. Practice and accept support and supervision. This is vital. So this support and supervision is something that can motivate. It's not something to be feared. It's something that is really, really good for staff, for managers, and for the centre as a whole. So I think it's vital to every service. And be open to change and embrace flexibility. Planning and assessing. AistearSìolta stressed the importance of planning for and assessing children's early learning and development. And in early childhood settings, planning and assessment are interwoven and inform each other. So you do your planning, you carry out your activity, you evaluate your activity, you reflect on your activity, and then you plan again. So it should be a constant evolving. Aistear is designed to work with the great variety of curriculum materials currently in use in early childhood settings. Use the learning goals of Aistear to further develop your curriculum. Use your pedagogical leadership skills to ensure you are offering a broad play-based curriculum that incorporates positive learning outcomes for young children. Planning is an ongoing cyclical process. It involves you in thinking about and being organised about what, why, how and when things are going to happen. It's having your plan of action, and again that would have been referred to earlier. Assessment allows you to evaluate your programme. It is at the heart of planning as it allows you to plan for and follow the child's interests, creating an emergent, evolving curriculum that is child-centred. And in supporting transitions is the final pillar in the Síolta Aistear Guide. And again, we're going back to one of the Susan slides from earlier this morning, and we were just talking about cultivating positive relationships. So you want to build trust between home and the setting, and the school and the setting, and your community, and as many people as you can. Communicate confidence. You know, moving forward is exciting and progressive. Change is not something to be feared. Change is something that is positive. And if we as adults display that by our own positivity, we can communicate that very easily to our children. Shift conversations then, present transition in a positive light, reveal silver linings. Now you will be able to do so much more. Now you're moving on to the mother room. Who do you already know there? Maybe you're moving from the preschool to the school, and you can actually play with the boy who lives next door that you're very friendly with, but you can't get to see him because he's in school and you're in preschool, and now you'll see him more often. And get people into the flow. This is normal, you know what I mean? Like, it's a normal thing to do. Everybody changes. It's not something that only happens just to you. It happens to everyone. Maybe do a pre-move visit, and then ask if you can come and visit after the move so that they don't feel that they're being abandoned by you once this transition happens. Listen to the child's fear, excitement, anticipation, and use strategies to allay them. Don't forget the use of interactive technology. Some of the schools now, in particular, if they're moving from preschool to school, some of the schools are actually up on the websites, and you can go in and you can do your 3D visits in it and the whole lot. So they can be very useful because they can actually see the whole building and everything else like that. They can do a walkthrough. And then a consistent, caring, responsive approach across the service is vital, as each child may respond differently. And then allow the child to be the expert in how it's going to work. Let them tell you how they see it, the transition working. If they can picture it, they can do it. Okay, and I'm just going to finish now with be mindful of how you influence young children's learning, as in the futures, they are the ones who shape the world. Thank you.